There comes a quiet moment in every life when the soul whispers gently, "This is not okay anymore." It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It simply offers truth in the softest of ways. And in that moment, whether spoken aloud or carried silently in the heart, the word enough rises. That one word carries so much power. It holds the weight of every tear not yet cried, every boundary not yet set, every hope that has been waiting patiently in the background. Enough is not an ending. It is a beautiful beginning. Saying enough is one of the most powerful declarations a person can make. It is the moment we decide to no longer live in a world that treats us less than we deserve. It is the moment we release ourselves from the grip of fear, pain, and old patterns that no longer bring peace. So often we are taught to endure, to be quiet, to be polite, to keep the peace at the expense of our own well-being. But healing begins when we recognize that our peace matters too. Our heart matters, our joy matters, and it is okay, more than okay, to say, "This is not for me anymore." There is no shame in reaching a limit. There is only wisdom. A flower does not keep growing in dry soil. It does not apologize for needing sunlight. It simply turns its face toward the warmth and reaches up. You too are allowed to turn your face toward the light. You are allowed to walk away from what depletes you and move closer to what nourishes your spirit. And it begins with that one sacred moment when you say, "Enough." So many live their lives waiting for permission, permission to rest, permission to speak, permission to be loved in the way their heart truly longs for. But healing begins when that permission comes from within. There is a part inside that already knows what is no longer working. It doesn't need to be convinced. It's been trying to speak for some time. And when that voice is honored, when you stop pushing it away and finally listen, that is the moment everything starts to change. You don't have to know all the answers before you begin. You don't have to have the whole plan. You don't even need to feel strong. All you need is a little willingness to listen to that voice and take the first small step. That step may be gentle, it may be quiet, it may be unseen by others. But for your soul, it is a celebration. It is the day you turned toward healing. Sometimes saying enough feels like a loss, but it is not a loss. It is a clearing. A space is being made for something better. A space for truth, for peace, for freedom. Let yourself grieve what was. Let yourself feel the tenderness of that moment. But know that healing is not about holding on. It is about letting go of what no longer serves and trusting that something more loving is possible. When the decision is made to begin again, to heal, to say no more to what has caused pain, it is a sacred choice, and the universe listens. The energy begins to shift. Support begins to arrive. The body, once tight with stress, begins to breathe a little easier. The mind, once filled with doubt, starts to feel hope. It doesn't happen all at once, but it begins, and beginnings are miracles. So if the heart is weary, if the mind is confused, if life has felt like too much for too long, know that it is okay to stop, to pause, to place your hands gently over your heart and whisper, "Enough." You are not giving up. You are waking up. You are listening to the wisdom inside that has always been there. Let this be the moment you choose yourself, not out of selfishness, but out of deep love. The world may not always understand, but your soul will, and that is what matters. Every step taken in love is a step toward wholeness. And that journey begins now with a word, a breath, a choice. Enough. Every feeling has a root, a quiet place where it began. Emotional pain, especially, does not come from nowhere. It is not sudden. It is planted deep, sometimes so deep that it becomes part of the foundation of how we see ourselves. It might begin as a child learning that love must be earned, or perhaps it grew when no one listened, or when silence was safer than truth. These small, early experiences leave an imprint, and over time, without even realizing it, that imprint becomes a belief. I am not enough. I must do more. I must be perfect to be loved. But these are not truths. They are stories we were told or shaped by experiences that hurt. And like any story, they can be rewritten. Healing begins when we bring those hidden roots into the light, not to judge them, but to understand them, with compassion, with kindness, with love. The past cannot be changed, but the way we carry it can be transformed. The body remembers everything. Even when the mind forgets or moves on, the body keeps score. A tightness in the chest, a heaviness in the stomach, a tension in the jaw. These are all signs that something inside still longs for healing. The body speaks when the heart has been quiet for too long. And when we begin to listen, truly listen, we start to understand what we've been holding on to. There is no need to rush this process. Healing is not a race. It is a return to softness, a return to self. And it begins with curiosity. Ask gently, what am I feeling? Where is it in my body? What might this be trying to tell me? When these questions are asked with love, the answers come, not always in words, but in feelings, in shifts, in small releases. Emotional pain often shows up in patterns of relationships, of thoughts, of choices. These patterns are not punishments. They are invitations to look deeper, to understand where we have been hurt and where we can now choose to heal. It's like being in a maze, the same turn over and over again. But one day, we pause, we look up, we see a new path. That pause is awareness. That new path is healing. It's okay to feel. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry or confused. These emotions are not wrong. They are messengers. And when we allow them to move through us, they no longer control us. Suppressed emotions do not disappear. They live in the body, and they affect everything: how we sleep, how we digest, how we breathe, how we connect with others. So let them rise, let them speak, let them go. There is a soft strength in acknowledging pain, a strength that says, I see you and I choose to love you anyway. This is the beginning of deep self-love, not because we are perfect, but because we are real. We are human, and we are healing. To support this process, one can gently place a hand on the area of the body that feels most tight. Close the eyes, take a deep breath, and say softly, I am safe to feel. I am safe to heal. Let the breath carry this message inward. Let it soften the tight places. Let it create space. There is no shame in pain, only a call for more love. When we stop running from what hurts and begin to offer it compassion, the transformation begins. The roots of pain lose their grip, and in their place, something new begins to grow. Peace, clarity, a quiet kind of strength. This is the healing journey, not to become someone else, but to return to the truth of who we are. And the truth is, we are whole, even when we feel broken. We are worthy, even when we feel lost. We are lovable, even when we've forgotten how to love ourselves. Let this be the moment when judgment is set aside and love is invited in. Healing is not about fixing, it's about remembering. And in this remembering, we rise. When the word enough is finally spoken, it often comes from a place of deep inner knowing, a place that is tired of pretending, tired of enduring, tired of the weight that comes with denying what's real. And in that one word, a quiet revolution begins. Saying enough is not about rejecting life. It is about choosing a different life. A life where peace is not something earned, but something embraced. A life where love is not conditional, but natural. A life where one is allowed to be fully, beautifully, wholly themselves. To say enough is to say yes to something better, not necessarily louder, not necessarily bigger, but better, because it honors the self. It honors the heart, and in doing so, it becomes the highest form of love. There is wisdom in the body that often goes unheard, a quiet message that repeats itself through tight shoulders, restless sleep, and a heavy heart. The body does not lie. It carries the truth of every unspoken feeling, every time we've said yes when we meant no, every moment we've pushed ourselves to be who we are not. This truth sits beneath the surface, patiently waiting for acknowledgement. And when healing begins, it is not only the mind that softens, it is the body that exhales, finally allowed to rest. The body and the mind are not separate. They are partners in the dance of healing. When we think fearful thoughts, the body becomes tense. When we feel unsafe emotionally, the body prepares to defend. When we carry unresolved anger or grief, the body holds it, stores it, hides it in muscles and tissues. And yet, just as it holds pain, it also holds the possibility of release. The body wants to heal. It is always seeking balance, always moving toward peace if we let it. One gentle way to listen is to become still and simply ask, where in my body do I feel discomfort? Then, with loving attention, rest your hand there. Breathe slowly. No need to fix it, no need to change it, just presence. This kind of attention is healing in itself. The body softens when it is seen without judgment. It begins to trust, and in that trust, release begins. Emotions like anxiety, sadness, or anger are not just mental, they are physical. They show up in the tight chest, the shallow breath, the clenched jaw. So many carry this every day without even realizing it. It becomes the background hum of life. But once we bring awareness to it, we can begin to unwind those old knots. We can say to the body, you are safe now. And when the body believes that, it begins to let go. This is why deep breathing is more than a technique. It is a message. With each breath, we tell our nervous system, peace is possible. With each breath, we signal to the body, it's okay to relax. And when practiced regularly, this becomes a new pattern, a new normal, not built on stress, but on calm presence. We can also ask our body what it needs. Sometimes the answer will be movement, other times stillness. Sometimes it will be water or sleep, or simply a few minutes without noise. The body knows. It has always known. We only need to ask and listen with love. So much healing begins when we stop seeing the body as a problem to be fixed and begin seeing it as a companion that deserves care. This shift in perspective changes everything. We move from criticism to kindness, from frustration to friendship. And the more we treat the body with love, the more it reflects that love back to us. Every ache, every tension, every sensation is an invitation to come home to the self, not with shame, but with understanding. The mind may try to analyze, but the body simply feels. And those feelings are the doorway to healing. Step through gently. Let the body lead. It knows the way. Thoughts are powerful builders. They construct the inner world in which we live each day. And without realizing it, so many have built a home of self-doubt, fear, and harsh judgment. These thoughts repeat, sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly, and become beliefs. Beliefs that shape our choices, our actions, our health, our relationships. But what if we could speak differently to ourselves? What if we could plant new thoughts, gentle, loving, supportive ones, that lift instead of weigh us down? The mind listens to every word we say, every criticism, every worry, every fear. It absorbs it all, and then it sends those messages to the body, to the heart, to every part of us. So we must begin to speak with care, with kindness, with truth. Healing begins when the inner dialogue changes from blame to compassion, from "what's wrong with me" to "I am learning," from "I'll never be good enough" to "I am enough." This is not just positive thinking, it is a relearning, a retraining of the inner voice, and it takes time, patience, and love. Begin by noticing the thoughts that arise when something goes wrong. Notice the tone. Would you speak to someone you love that way? If not, then offer yourself the same grace, the same softness. Affirmations are powerful tools for this shift, not because they are magic words, but because they create a new rhythm, a new inner melody. When repeated with feeling and belief, they begin to dissolve the old patterns. Simple, gentle affirmations like, "I am safe, I am healing, I am loved and loving," can begin to soothe the nervous system. They offer the mind something new to hold on to, something that nourishes instead of drains. It helps to say them in the morning before the day begins, or at night before sleep, or even during difficult moments when the mind wants to return to old habits. Speak them aloud if possible. Feel them in the body. Let the words become real through repetition and intention. It is also helpful to write affirmations down. Carry them in a pocket, place them on the mirror. Not as rules to follow, but as gentle reminders of what is true. Because even when the mind forgets, the heart remembers. Changing inner dialogue is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing thoughts that support healing, that create space for growth, that allow love to return. The old thoughts may still arise. That's okay. Don't fight them. Just choose again, gently, lovingly, patiently. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. And from that place, you can choose new thoughts, ones that align with peace, joy, and worthiness. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. And in time, the inner world becomes a safe place, a kind place, a home. In the quiet of a room with no one watching, there is a simple yet powerful act that can change a life: looking into your own eyes in the mirror. At first, it may feel strange, even uncomfortable. The gaze may want to shift, the voice may hesitate. But if you stay, if you breathe, if you soften into the moment, something beautiful begins to happen. A connection, a remembering, a reunion with the self. Mirror work is not about vanity, it is about truth. It is about standing before yourself with no filters, no masks, and saying, "I see you and I love you." For many, these are words never heard before, not truly, not deeply. But the mirror offers a chance to become your own source of love, your own greatest supporter. Begin simply. Look into your own eyes for just a moment each day. Say something kind. You are doing your best. You are worthy. You are growing. Let the words be soft and real. There's no need to force it. Just begin. Some days it will be easier. Other days, old voices may rise. Voices of judgment or doubt. That is okay. Those voices are old recordings. They do not belong to the present. You do not need to believe them. You can hear them and still choose a different voice, a loving one. The mirror becomes a sacred space, a place where healing is reflected back, where courage grows, where softness returns. And over time, something changes. The reflection no longer feels distant or strange. It becomes familiar. It becomes a friend. It helps to make this a daily practice, a few minutes in the morning, a few words before sleep. Repeating affirmations while looking into your own eyes gives them more power, more truth, more depth. Because when you say, "I love you," while looking into the eyes that have seen your whole journey, the joy and the sorrow, it becomes real. It becomes healing. You may wish to keep a journal near the mirror, to write down what arises, what emotions come forward, what affirmations feel true, what ones still feel far away. All of this is part of the process. Nothing needs to be forced, just witnessed with kindness. There is no wrong way to do mirror work, only the willingness to show up, to be present, to be honest, and to be gentle. Each moment spent in this practice is a moment of self-connection, a moment of healing. This is not a one-time thing. It is a relationship with the self. And like all relationships, it needs time, attention, and care. But the rewards are deep. A sense of inner stability, a growing peace, a love that no longer depends on outside approval. In time, the mirror will no longer be a stranger's face. It will be a reminder of how far you've come, of how deeply you are healing, and of how much love you truly carry inside. And that, dear soul, is more powerful than any outside praise. It is the foundation of all true healing, and it is available to you now, always.